Power Rangers Prime is a new beginning for the franchise. Here we go. Boom Studios' MMPR series has long since established itself as one of the best licensed comics on the stands. The series has spent years building on the foundation of the beloved TV series and establishing new Power Rangers characters like Lord Dragon and Ranger Slayer. But that all finally came to an end this summer with the release of MMPR Darkest Hour Issue 1. An 8-year saga has come to a close. The good news is that Boom Studios isn't finished with the franchise by any means. That said, they aren't simply relaunching the series with a new issue and a new status quo. The publisher has something more ambitious in mind. Cue Power Rangers Prime, a completely fresh start for the franchise that shares more than a title in common with Marvel's Ultimate Universe. The new series is written by current MMPR writer Melissa Flores and illustrated by Iron Fist Michael YG. Now, the part where it says that they aren't really relaunching the franchise, yes they are. So I really don't know where you're trying to get at, IGN, but you're capping here. Okay, so this is what the Samurai Ranger is going to look like. I think it's only focusing on red, in my opinion. But if they are going to like reboot Samurai in the comics, I really hope they do some justice with Kevin's character. And I really hope they give the Asian Red Ranger an Asian last name instead of having a Caucasian white male with the Japanese last name. Like, I really want them to actually do something like this. Not like they're watching my videos about it. Then I personally think that it's gonna happen. But the costume itself looks pretty good. I like the helmet. I love the weapon, the costumes. Like, everything just screams samurai. And this is what I covered a while back, what I saw at Comic-Con last month. So yeah, I really like this Red Ranger, the way it looks. It looks pretty cool. So here's the thing. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this style. It looks like it's kind of bland in my opinion, but I appreciate their style, but it's just not for me. This is what we covered a while back too. This is what we saw at the Comic-Con. Now this one is really interesting. This is Zonon, and I believe this is Alpha 5, a little boy that is about to become maybe like a assistant. So this is pretty much before he became Alpha, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one is really interesting. Whoa, okay, so this looks fire. Look at the costume, look at the helmet, and I believe this is Lauren, or a new character that is pretty much like the Red Ranger representing all the Red Rangers. But look at the costume though, look at how slick that looks. Like, from the neck down, you can tell they really be paying attention to the source material. This might be my favorite cover out of all of them. I really like this. Woo, look at this. Yo, this looks insane. This really looks insane, y'all. It's like she's wearing a costume, but in Super Samurai mode. And you notice that she's not holding the samurai saber, like the spin sword. That's an actual samurai sword, like a katana. This is good. This is good. Okay, so this is what the preview of the comics looks like. And I have no idea what's going on here, but it looks like the Red Ranger is about to get all kinds of power-ups. I don't know who is representing the power, but you can see all the rainbow colors of the red, blue, green, yellow, and pink. I don't see any black or nothing like that, but I can care less. Okay, so we're all into the comic preview. I believe this is a new original character. So I believe this is her. Looks like she's being followed and she's getting blasted. Her try to figure out who is behind this. Try to figure out what's going on as she trips on the ground. Whoa, what? Yep, this is definitely Lauren. I knew it was Lauren though because the blonde hair. But my goodness. So I believe this was like a security guard. I don't know what they call, but you see Lauren about to transform into a Power Ranger. Yo, the artwork. Okay, can we just talk about the artwork in this though? Because I'm loving the shading with the black, with the strong blacks on here. Like, this is what effort looks like. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. I really love what I'm seeing, y'all. Especially at the bottom when she's morphing. This is sick. And this is her. Looks like she's fighting these people. And I believe this looks like some type of different dimension. Well, I don't want to say dominions, but it looks like some type of different evil forces that were after her. And I'm guessing they're after the Power Morpher or something like that. So this is her fighting these people. She looked like she got hit in the face or something like that. And if you look at the bottom, she is carrying which looks like a spin sword or a regular katana weapon. And it looks like she's just throwing hands at him though. Yep. Whoa. Yep, she's carrying a spin sword. And you even notice she's throwing kicks. So she's not really a samurai, but she's a martial artist too. And you know, samurai, you know. Okay, so here's the thing. When samurai fight in battle, they always use their swords, but they could always use their feet and legs. And you know, in fists where they fighting and stuff like that. So just seeing this from Lauren, I like what I'm seeing. Her jumping into battle, jumping on to the people that were shooting at her. Okay, I'm loving this artwork. Like, whoever is the colorist of this artwork, bruh, I salute you, bro. And I believe this is the final part where she morphs. Yeah. It's a big deal that Boom is ending the MMPR series after 8 years and well over 100 issues, particularly with the long-running TV series also having recently concluded. This is very much the end of an era for the franchise. Flores reflects on the appeal of the MMPR comic. None of that is a real success can be encapsulated in previous writer Cal Higgins' approach to the book. Cal Higgins, who started our amazing run, said very distantly that he wasn't telling Power Rangers the way it was, which was aimed at younger kids, a little campy, a little over the top. He was telling Power Rangers the way he remembered it, making him feel Flores tell IGN. And that always really stuck with me. I always thought that was really incredible. These books really took the characters that you fell in love with and treated them with much respect in terms of really digging into their character arcs and establishing who they really were as people and what the power meant for them. We were able to do so many amazing things, and these incredible writers came up with these amazing new characters that only exist in the comics, well, in the comics world. And the fans in general just fell in love. Prior to spearheading Power Rangers Prime, Flores was tasked to bring Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to an end in a sprawling Darkest Hour storyline, which has seen Rita Repulsa gain new levels of power and transform into a villain called Mistress Val. In Darkest Hour, Mistress Val pulls a powerful being called Dark Spectre into our reality, ripping a hole in the morphing grid. In the process, our heroes have fought a long uphill battle in trying to save the morphing grid from destruction and ensure the world will still have its heroes. We had over 100 issues of incredible Power Ranger arcs, and Darkest Hour was the culmination of those stories, Flores says. So it was instantly meant to be our finale, and I was brought on board to write it. What I really wanted to do was take every single arc and honor it in some way and create a coherent story that really talks about something of Power Rangers. The idea, especially coming out of COVID and everything, is that the world may never be the same, but it doesn't mean Power Rangers will change. They're always going to be who they are. I like this. They're always going to fight. They're always going to fight as a team. And they're always going to protect the world, even if the stakes seem super dire. With a conflict that means in scope, the question becomes, what's next? How do you follow a story as big and destructive as Darkest Hour? How do you appeal to the new readers who haven't been following the Power Ranger comics over the past 8 years? He says that the goal was always to follow Darkest Hour by whipping the slate clean. I like that. We're always gearing towards this grand finale for 8 years of Power Rangers comics, and we're looking for an opportunity to relaunch in a fresh way, to pull in lifelong Power Ranger fans, but also new fans and people who might look at a large scope of Power Rangers TV shows and comics and be a little intimidated by feeling like, oh, there's so much I have to catch up on before I can dive into a story about the Power Rangers, he says. So we wanted to take the opportunity to really set the table to fresh start and kind of build something from the ground up. I like that as well. And I know it's been exciting for me and Melissa to get to do that, because we both came on to the comics over the past 2 years to basically shape her this grand finale in. And now it's really cool to give Melissa kind of a blank slate, and give her the opportunity to stretch her muscles and do a lot more ground up creation for the Power Rangers. This isn't the first time Boom has relaunched the Power Ranger comic, but there's a key difference this time. Power Rangers Prime reboots the franchise continuity using Darkest Hour as a catalyst. The new series is a completely fresh start in a world full of characters, both familiar and new. And Flores continue, the beautiful thing about Prime is that we can take familiar elements that we love about Power Rangers. We can add new elements. We can really turn this into a true comic experience, in that we don't have to worry about what other media is doing. We can just focus on what we love about Power Rangers in this comic series. This reboot seems reminiscent of Marvel's Ultimate Universe or DC's upcoming Absolute Universe, like with other Ultimate lines. Power Rangers Prime is about streaming a long-running property and making it fresh and accessible for materially audiences. But Flores notes that while she's a big fan of the Ultimate Universe, she isn't necessarily setting up or out to follow that playbook. And the biggest difference here is that Power Rangers Prime isn't coexisting alongside the classic Power Rangers timeline. This is all there is now. It's one of those things where I love Marvel Ultimate Universe, but I definitely don't want to do exactly what they did, Flores says. I mean, it might end up being that way just because they do it so beautifully. It might be intentional, but I admire what they do so much when it comes to the alternate universe. Gunnar West added, I think their idea has been kind of a touch point for us in development talks, but as Melissa said, we're taking a good idea and making it our own in a sense. But I think that's a really good touch point in terms of just water comic stories and the way that we can use familiar ideas, tropes, and characters and inject new life into them in a way that is fresh and original, but also digs deep into the heart of the story we want to tell. It's like this gives us an opportunity to distill the core of what is special about Power Rangers and to explore that in a very focused way. It remains to be exactly which Rangers will be the main focus of Power Rangers Prime, but one thing is clear: this won't simply be another book featuring the classic Mighty Morphin crew. The new series will immediately focus on a character from a different Power Rangers show, Lauren Sheba from Super Samurai. When we see Lauren, she's on the run from an Eltarian police force who are hunting her down because she's a Power Ranger, Flores tease. And she's come to Angel Grove for a very specific reason and ran into trouble. As we follow her, we start to meet a whole band of other characters who either help her or hurt her, depending on how they feel about Power Rangers. And we also see what this new Angel Grove looks like and how it came to be. So it's not the Angel Grove we remember, and there is no Zonon. So they kind of have to figure out on their own, and the audiences get to do that with them. This should appeal to fans who are expecting and hoping for Boom Studios to move ahead in the Power Rangers timeline and transition from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Power Rangers Zeo. This new series might not be what they're expecting, but this is room now for other characters from all Power Rangers shows to appear. The beautiful thing about Power Rangers Prime is that literally the entire something of Power Rangers is open to us, Flora says. I can't explain why that is, not yet, but we get to play with some really fun characters. We look at every single character of Power Rangers, not just in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but all over the place. Like I said, we have Lauren and Samurai. There is a Megaforce character in there. Oh shoot, if there is a Megaforce character, I hope to God they do Troy, because Troy, Gia, and all the other characters were just bland from the start. We've already talked about Jungle Fury characters. I like to see that too. They will show up in a different ways, not just ways maybe you expect them to show up, and that's what I love about it. There's very much an ultimate world where circumstance and consequence have created an entirely different world that we are getting to know. Flores added, one of my favorite books was the original Spider-Gwen run, because we got to see all these characters that we knew, but just manifesting in different ways. And it's not directly an inspiration for this, but I do think that in terms of how we look at familiar characters and how they are seen in our series, you might see a little bit of that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a character that maybe you know that maybe it's not who you expect them to be. If there has been one consistent in Boom's Power Rangers line amid the story shakes up, relaunches, and creative team changes for the past 8 years, it's artist Dan Moore. Moore has remained involved with the series in different ways, designing characters, drawing covers, and even handling the interior art on Go-Go Power Rangers. Moore, despite his commitments to DC books like Absolute Power and upcoming Justice League Unlimited, is serving as character designer and cover artist for Power Rangers Prime. He's always my dream, Flora says. The minute they tell me that Dan is doing the designs or Dan's doing covers, I have a little bit of happy something in my heart, because he loves Power Rangers more than anybody that I know. And the fact that he makes time for this series makes me feel so humble and happy, because truly for the longest time and still he is my barometer for the quality of Rangers and what Rangers should be. And I'm always so thankful and grateful every time he comes back. And the designs that he has created are just absolutely beautiful and fit the narrative and the story so well. It's so cool. As for the interior art, the new series is being drawn by Michael YG, who recently handled Marvel's Iron Fist series. According to Gronaways, YG's ability to blend elements of Western comics and Japanese manga is exactly what makes him such a perfect fit for the Power Rangers universe. I think Michael is very unique. His art style very much marries Western and Eastern styles, Gronaways says. He has a very dynamic, slightly exaggerated manga style, but then the way he's able to kind of stylize it in a bit comics, more American market way. He's not consciously trying to match audiences, but the way that he pulls so many different influences definitely creates this just perfect. Okay, the grammar is a bit off in my opinion, but I get what he's trying to say, that his art style is very different from one another. And we get a better look of the art style. And again, his art style is really fantastic. I'm loving what I'm seeing. It's so colorful. Is the red and the orange and purple work well together. It reminds me of the old school comics from the 2000s with the way that the colors blend and work so well together. And I really love what I see. This is exactly what the Power Ranger comics should have looked years ago. Like, this is my type of art style that I like to see, because it looks serious, it looks mature, and that's what I like to see. It continues, and he's been having a blast. I think he's been such a great collaborator that we had to do the same thing that we did with Melissa, with Michael, when we were like, you can have fun with this. You can design things, throw things in the background. I won't spoil what it was, but he put an Easter egg for a different Boom comic in the background as a billboard on one of the buildings, and that gave us the idea. We're like, wait, we can actually turn this into something like universe. So things like that, but he just has completely knocked it out of the park with the world building. Flores added, we had an amazing artist on MMPR, but because Prime is new and different, it felt so right when I saw the art. It felt so different, and the energy in those pages, I don't want to say grit, but there's a heaviness in them and an energy that just blows me away. I was just so excited when the art was coming in, and then the colors, it feels so woefully unique and different, and still Power Rangers, which is beautiful. But we definitely taking our time with the story and setting up the world, and so it's been a beautiful partnership, and I'm so happy and thankful that he's on board. Okay, so this is a long article, a very, very long article, because all this article was just interviews of writers and artists of Power Rangers Prime. And though, like I said, some of the artwork I've seen look incredible. The costume, the art style, the strong blacks, the colors that just pop. It felt so mature, and I felt like I was reading a comic that is based off an Amazon Prime TV show, like The Boys, for example. That's the kind of vibe that I was getting from. And so I'm looking forward to see what Melissa and them have in stores this November coming up. So they say that it's not going to be focused on mainly Mighty Morphin, but it's going to be focusing on other Rangers, and I like that. I like that a lot. Though I love Mighty Morphin, but I think it's time to just branch out of Mighty Morphin for a while and see what other characters have been doing, what have they been up to, like, are there any new adventures for them? That's what I really like to see. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'm gonna catch y'all